Alright, what's going on, you guys? It's Rahul here, back again with another video. In today's video, it's a little bit different. This one's more of just like an unscripted video where, it's kind of like casual talk. It's more like an unscripted video. I didn't have time to write a script for this, and I've been feeling this over the past, few days, or I've been feeling this for some time. So I really want to get this out off my chest, and I mean, my YouTube channel is, well, the best way to, get this off my chest. So, of course, you guys know what to do. Like the video if you enjoyed, as it really helps out the channel. And let's try to reach 8 likes for this video, as it really helps out the channel, as I said before. Subscribe if you guys are new, and enjoy the content on here so you don't miss out on any new videos. Plus, we're on the road to 500 subscribers, and once we hit that goal, I will do a reaction to my first 2 videos ever, and a Q&A. But with that being said, let's just get straight into today's video. So, of course, as you guys can tell from the title, this has to do with the recent Andre Drummond signing. And when I was on Twitter, when the news broke that Drummond was signing with the Lakers, a lot of Lakers fans were hyped, as Marc Gasol this year has been pretty disappointing, and a lot of Lakers fans really wanted a replacement, and a lot of them, they wanted Andre Drummond, and what do you know? They got their wish. And I saw a lot of them hyped up, as he said before, but me personally, I felt like a lot of Lakers fans were, they were kind of getting a little bit too ahead of themselves, and I felt like they needed to hold their horses. I mean, I don't know who. Well, anyways, I feel like a lot of Lakers fans were overhyping Andre Drummond. And in this video, I just wanted to go over why I feel like Andre Drummond is such a big wild card for the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, a while ago, I did make a video on the truth about Andre Drummond when these trade rumors were going on and all. And in that video, I'm not going to, completely summarize it, but I feel like Andre Drummond is better than the numbers might say. Now, I'm going to link it in the description below if you guys want to go check it out. But for those of you who don't have time to watch the video, I'm gonna go over a little bit in depth on why the big problems with Andre Drummond. So really, my biggest problems lie in the fact that, one, he isn't as good as the numbers say, as I alluded to before. Okay, Andre Drummond, I mean, the guy puts up pretty good stats. I mean, he is a 2-time All-Star, and I do believe he made like All-NBA third team one year. So yeah, he has made 2 All-Star teams, and he does put up pretty good numbers. But he's not as good as his numbers may paint him out to be. I mean, first off, I want to get this out of the way. There are times when he just pads his stats. I mean, if you watch the games, looking at his box score, you might be thinking, oh, Andre Drummond was amazing. But then when you watch him, you realize he isn't as good as the stats may paint him out to be. Not only that, but Andre Drummond is also really inconsistent as a player, and I mean, that's really due to the fact that his effort is really inconsistent, especially defensively. Like, there's stretches of games when the guy is just playing very well, and if we're taking defense, for example, I mean, there's stretches when he's playing very good defense. He's holding his opponent, to bad shooting, and his opponent's having a tough time scoring on him. And I mean, he's engaged defensively, and he's just good defensively. There are times when he's like that, but then there's a stretch of games when, he doesn't want to, it looks like he doesn't even want to play basketball. He's just there because, he has to be there. And it's just like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and pad my stats and, and just make it look like I did good, and the guy is just not playing well defensively, and his opponent has a career night with 30 points maybe on pretty good efficiency. I mean, Andre Drummond can be like a really hot and cold player, in my opinion. I mean, the guy, he is pretty inconsistent due to his inconsistent effort. And getting to the fact that he pads his stats, I mean, the reasons why I feel like he pads his stats a lot of times is because he has a really big ego. I mean, the thing is, I have to admit that he has played on some talentless and bad Detroit Pistons teams, and because of that, they had to rely on him to be the primary scoring option. So he was used to the getting a lot of touches in the post, and them relying on him to score a lot of score the most points on the team. And because of that, I do feel like that did boost his ego up a little, quite a bit, and into him thinking, oh, I'm one of the best big men in the NBA. And don't get me wrong, I do feel like when he's playing at his best, he's probably one of the better, starting centers. But the guy has a very, he has a very big ego. It really just boosted his ego, the fact that he got to play on those really bad teams, and he got a lot of the touches. He has a very big ego, and he also wants to get paid, a max contract, and I mean that does kind of show his ego. I mean, I don't think he's worth the max contract, but I guess worth the max contract. I mean, we can get into that a little bit later, but you know, you might be wondering, Rahul, what's so bad about Andre Drummond besides, you know, the fact that he's inconsistent? I mean, that's bad, but my biggest reasons, you know, why, like, some of my biggest reasons include, you know, the fact that he has a lot of bad habits, you know, especially offensively, as I said, you know, before. I mean, defensively, I went over it already, but getting to his bad habits offensively, I mean, first off, the guy takes a lot of bad, you know, he takes a lot of bad shots. I mean, there's times when, you know, possessions when he just isolates, you know, in, you know, situations that it's not really appropriate to isolate, and, you know, he just isn't a great ball handler, of course, so, I mean, it's not really a good idea, and, of course, it just ends up in a brick shot and a wasted possession. So, of course, he has really bad shot selection. Not only that, but as a post scorer, the guy is just really bad. I mean, he has really bad touch around the rim, and I mean, I was watching like a video, and I mean, I read some stat where it's just like, I don't exactly remember, but he was shooting like 43%, you know, from, you know, on layups, and that is terrible, especially for a center that doesn't shoot outside the paint. And Andre Drummond, he is really inefficient for a center that doesn't shoot outside the paint. I mean, the guy this season, I believe, was shooting like 47% from the field before, you know, he got benched and the Cavaliers eventually bought him out. I mean, that is, you know, that is just not good at all. Not only that, but he does turn the ball over a lot, and I mean, that's also not good. I mean, turning the ball over, I mean, that's just never really good. But yeah, Andre Drummond has a lot of bad habits offensively, primarily with shot selection. I do feel like we can attribute this to the fact that he has a big ego, and the fact that he's playing on those bad teams, you know, he got the freedom to, you know, take these shots, and he has this idea like, oh, I'm one of the best offensive bigs in the league, I can go ahead and take these post shots, and, you know, and do whatever I want and all. I mean, he has this idea that he can sometimes just do what he wishes to do, and I mean, that's just not exactly a formula for winning, and a lot of people have criticized him for saying, oh, he just puts up empty stats, and, you know, it doesn't lead to winning. And I mean, that is actually kind of true. Andre Drummond does kind of, you know, put up empty stats and doesn't really contribute to winning sometimes, because when you're really inconsistent, that's not going to contribute to a lot of winning. Plus the fact that he has bad shot selection, I mean, that can be a formula for losing a game, and that's, of course, you know, not a formula to, you know, having a winning team. And I mean, the Cavaliers, you know, bought him out, you know, due to these reasons, because I mean, he started out the season well, but, you know, then he went back to, you know, his bad habits, and eventually they just had to buy him out because no one really wanted to trade for him, and they realized, hey, this guy, I mean, he has a lot of issues, and yeah, we gotta trade him, you know. And I also want to get to the one thing I also forgot to mention is that he has you know, the fact with his big ego and all. I mean, one of the reasons why he's also so inconsistent is because, you know, when the coaches don't allow him to, like, you know, take these post shots, he can get really pouty, he fouls a lot, he isn't playing good defense, he's setting really lazy and ineffective screens, and, you know, eventually the coaches kind of just have to bend a knee, because, you know, in Detroit especially, the coaches, you know, they had to force Andre Drummond, you know, they had to give him the freedom because they couldn't anger him. I mean, he was essentially their, you know, big star, so of course they couldn't really anger him. So that's another thing I wanted to mention. I mean, that's one reason why Andre Drummond might have, you know, has this big ego and takes a lot of these bad shots and has, you know, these bad habits. I mean, that's another thing I wanted to mention. Now, you might be wondering too, Rahul, can't the Lakers also fix this? I mean, there's a chance that he does change. Now, I do want to say that is really true. There is a chance that the Lakers can fix him. I mean, first off, they're going to be having a winning culture, as of course they just came off winning a championship, and they have a winning culture, and I mean, those habits he has probably will not be tolerated by the Lakers. Not only that, but even though LeBron James is injured, there's going to be a lot of LeBron James could really pressure Andre Drummond into, you know, not you know, just really being a good player, and, you know, not, you know, showing these bad habits on the court. Now, as for what I think, about what Andre Drummond should do to kind of fix it, first off, he has to stop taking bad shots. I mean, on the Lakers, I do think it will be a lot better since he's going to be relegated to the third option. Now, LeBron James and Anthony Davis are injured right now, but if the Lakers, I feel like Andre Drummond should focus on rebounding, as the guy is a real pretty good rebounder. He should also focus on his defense, as Andre Drummond is a big guy, so I mean, he can be a good interior presence, and when he's engaged, he's actually not a terrible defensive player. And when it comes to scoring the ball, he isn't elite, and he shouldn't be focused on, like, isolating and attacking the basket, off the dribble and, scoring in the post. He should focus mainly on scoring through the pick and roll. But I guess that's kind of, if you ask me, to really just sum up my thoughts on this, I mean, Andre Drummond, not a terrible player, but the guy, I mean, I feel like a lot of Lakers fans, are kind of overhyping Andre Drummond, and they need to realize that he has a lot of issues and is a massive wild card, because there's a chance that he could be really, he could be the same player that the same, player I described, before in a majority of the video, or he could be like the latter half, where the guy just decides to fix his play and, is more consistent and, is just trying to contribute to winning. But I guess that's kind of all I have to say for this video. You guys know what to do. Like the video if you enjoyed. Let's try to get to 8 likes for this video. Subscribe if you guys are new, and enjoy the content on here so you don't miss out on any new videos. Plus, we're on the road to 500 subscribers, and once we hit our goal, I will do a reaction to my first 2 videos ever. But with that being said, I'm out, you guys.